That's crap. You need ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge. You got to learn some ancient history. And no, I mean, God doesn't change. I mean, there are certain attributes about God that are just solid. And if you say I didn't value those things, and I'm okay with that. Wherever I go from here is where I go. Well, remember, if you're a money lover and you love the advantage that gives you, all those things that it gives you that you love about money, and you love that more than human beings, okay? And you're not ready to live in a world without any form of money. You don't want to be there because everything will be equal. Everybody will be equally rich, equally free, equally secure, equally prosperous. Then you won't be there. And you can't, it's not like you could say it outwardly. Okay, it's like God puts you on his polygraph machine. That's the day of reckoning. That's judgment day. And he knows, he's looking at your heart and mind. Remember, he knows you. It's like when we create a machine, we know it. We put a chip in it. We can program it like a black box in your car or whatever they call them. Okay, and he knows you. So we can't lie to him. He's not going to buy a lot of psychobabble coming out of your mouth. Say, well, this group and this person told me this and that, and so I just believed it because they were university professors, and I just wanted what I thought was popular. And you're like Nazi Germany. We won't talk about that. And that's my excuse, God. I mean, I'm trying to be your friend, not a yes man. And in person, if you meet me in person, I'm not going to talk in a way that's excoriating. I'm totally different. I'm lighthearted, and I try to be witty and make people smile and laugh. That's the truth. I'm not like, I get everything off my chest when I do this video series weekly that I've been doing for so long. Okay? But I want the best for everybody. Why? Because I'm a selfish man. I want to be happy. I want the best for me. And I realize I cannot go alone. I realized this a long time ago. God spoke to me in that still, quiet voice. And just, you understand, you got to care about others because I'm watching this. You can't go out there and just look after old number one and make a fortune and then and then not care and realize I'm watching everything. You understand? Because so much of this world is just a crapshoot. It's just a flip of the coin, okay, a roll of the dice. Okay, it's, people, I feel lucky. Oh, I was born in a rich family, or, I look forward to inheriting, or I invested wisely and I did this and that. And, all those people that they didn't do it, they should just do it. They would make it be like me. Everybody's different. We can't judge others. Jesus said, whatsoever you do or fail to do for the least of men, you do or fail to do for me. Now, what don't you understand about that statement? Friends, I want you all to remember that while we have bodies, we are not bodies, okay? It's very critical to understand that truth. We are not bodies, and we do not die, okay? That's a fact, is that to God all are alive, and that is the way God thinks is the way we are to think, is that we can't really die. God always gets the last say. It's only the worst that can ever happen is the death of our bodies, and that we might not even care about. We might care much more about the death of a loved one. But death, we all would agree, is a bad thing, right? So that live and let die thing, live and let die is just, it's cognitive dissonance. It's just our way of dealing with stuff. Like, we don't want to think about death. But we know it's imminent. We know it's facing us. And the older we get, it's ticking closer and closer. So we should all think about it and, consider the implications. There's one thing that evil men hate. It's righteous men. Okay, it's the same phenomenon today as it was when Jesus walked the earth. Okay, evil men simply cannot tolerate righteous men because they always expose them for the evil men that they are, and they hate it. They seethe with hatred like they did with Christ. So while it's no fun being hated, it doesn't help to deny it. It's true, and it doesn't feel good to be hated without a cause. It sucks because you know in your heart that you are every man's friend, not some men's friend. You want the best for everybody, not just some people. Because you're God's friend by your own free will and choice. You're God's servant. And the relationship he wants with us is to be friends, to want what's best for not some people, but for all people. To understand that includes your enemies, the most vile of men. See, God is way better than us. Said we've got to strive to be more like him. He's not going to be more like us, especially when we're wrong. See, people are delusional all the time. And in fact, it can be the majority that are delusional because it's willful delusion. You understand that you've heard of willful ignorance. Well, that's what willful delusion is, an extension of that. Because if you're willfully stupid, which is ignorant, you don't know, you think you're in a position of power because you've attained worldly power, but that's not real power. It's pseudo power. It's ephemeral, temporary power. It's not lasting. The only viable power is the power God gives us. And we've got to be right with him. Our values have to be in line with his. And we have to seek to find what those are. Ask prayerfully, individually, personally, intimately. We ask through prayer. Okay, that relationship is there for us, for the taking at all times. He's not a distant God. He's right there in your presence, right next to you, in you, if you allow. Welcome the Spirit of truth in. You say, God, I want to be your friend here. And to be your friend, you know what? I want to be right with you. I want you to like me as a human being, as your child, as your servant. I want to be useful. You don't have to be perfect. Okay, nobody's perfect. If God said to the planet, everybody that's perfect on planet Earth, raise your hand. You think you'd see one hand go up? Not one. Not one. We're all screwed up. That's just the state of the human condition. We all know, well, the reason that that's the human nature, right? Well, that is, we've got this big organic problem working against us. The sin nature. This is the only way to explain all the bad things, organically speaking. Natural disasters, it's too hot, it's too cold, all these diseases, the death. Okay, these are horrible things. And I'd say some if I didn't know scripture and some atheists came up to me and they heard me preaching about Jesus and the Bible and this and that about God and all this, they'd say, you know what? I think you're God. I think he's a stinking, impotent a-hole. Okay? And I would have no comeback. I got nothing. If I didn't know whatever the original sin is an allegory for, if I didn't know about that, I got nothing. But when I've got that and I understand this isn't God's fault, God is not responsible for anything bad. There's, in fact, no way you could imagine a better God than the one true Almighty Creator God. You understand? God is like the very best set of parents you can imagine, and then many-fold greater, infinitely greater, that we'll be wondering and exploring and discovering for all eternity just how good God is and what he wants for us. He wants everything forever. It's going to get better and better as we evolve for all eternity. There's no end to this thing. It just gets better and better and better. That's your lot. That's what he wants for you. That's his will. It's not hidden. It's not a secret. So, I mean, it's good and it just gets better and better if we're on the right track, on the right path, in the right line. So we don't inadvertently, whoopsie daisy, I'm in hell with all those money-loving maggots bullying me around, bossing me around. I didn't make it. I didn't make the cut because my heart and my mind were off. When God gave me the polygraph exam, and I failed it, called Judgment Day, Day of Reckoning, which might be today. If this is the last day on earth, I get to form my personality, who I am, my character, my values. If I don't get it together, man, and just simply get it, okay, while there's light, the light of day is shining on me, where am I going from here? Do you want to wonder? I do not want to be with those people. And I have to denounce money in all its sundry forms. You must too. We all must come together on this issue. There's no way we can ever learn to get, hey, for thousands of years, if we were going to figure this thing out and it was going to work for everybody, we would have done it by now. Okay? It's unconscionable what's happened to this country. The Federal Labor Department, nobody talks about them. Nobody. I'm the only guy out there points out they could have stopped the currency debasement. But by law, hey, you got to pay your workers more. Why? Because people are manipulating markets and driving up their cost of living. So they're just trying to stay even Steven. So the rubber would have met the road. Then we would have had the conversation, well, who's driving up the prices? Is it a monopoly? Is it a special interest group colluding? Or is it several special interest groups colluding? What's going on here? Let's get to the bottom of it. You see, this could have been easily prevented just by them enforcing the federal minimum wage law. America would have stayed cohesive. It wouldn't be a Motel Row now. Essentially, that's what it is. Your hopes are dashed. Very few people, it's just going to be more and more of the rich scooping up all the properties, that we won the game of Monopoly.